Usually when we are asked to do this individually, which we'll be told to do when we leave this retreat, one should focus on that particular process for around 10 minutes or so. The next thing, this is the second one. So the first thing is the preparation, the white. Now the second part of the Lataif cleansing is the cleansing of all the 7 centers. So what will happen? At this time we will imagine the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in a beautiful red color up in the sky above us. And a beautiful red light as we're breathing in through our nose. Okay? At the same time we will imagine the red light is actually entering through our nose, and as you can see on the screen, is actually directing it to the red spiritual center, which is situated below the navel. And as we breathe out, we imagine that this Lataif is being cleansed and the darkness is actually exiting behind the red spiritual center. So from the back, the darkness is exiting. So each one of these latifas, as you'll see, as we go to each one, we will imagine the beautiful name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in that color. So same again, the breathing process will remain the same all the way through. So long deep breaths, but the thinking process obviously will change as you go to each center. So the next one being the orange spiritual center, the orange latifa. So similarly again, we'll imagine the name of Allah Azza wa Jal in a beautiful orange color shining in the sky, and similarly an illuminated light as we breathe in. It's coming through the nose, directing to the orange spiritual center, which is situated at the navel. And as we breathe out, imagine that this latifa is being cleansed and the darkness is exiting from behind the latifa. Similarly again, as we go into the yellow latifa, here the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will now turn into a beautiful yellow color. In the same way, the same breathing process through the nose. Imagine the light is entering, directed to the yellow latifa in the stomach area, and as you breathe out, imagine that is being, inshallah, released behind the spiritual center. Same again, green. So again, the green color. Like I said, some people may see these colors. They may see the lataif being cleansed. This is the fazl of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But all of us can use our mind and imagination and think of these diagrams, if nothing else, and direct it with the mind and the imagination. And then similarly, the light blue, this will be similar process through the nose. The breathing is through the nose, directing the light is through the nose, and as we breathe out through the mouth, the latifa is being cleansed and all the darkness is exiting behind. And now as we come into the blue latifa, the dark blue latifa, sorry, here the only difference, the breathing will be the same, breathing through the nose, out of the mouth, but now the dark blue light, we will imagine that is actually entering directly into the dark blue latifa. Okay? Whereas the rest we were imagining is going through the nose and all the way down. Because easy way to remember this is all the other latifas are below the nose. So you're sending them through the nose. So this is just to remember, that's all. So imagine that it's going directly into the dark blue latifa. Then finally the white, similarly again, imagine the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, beautiful white color, the white light coming, entering directly into the white latifa, and then as we breathe out, imagining the darkness is being cleansed and it's being released from the back of latifa. So this is the second part of the cleansing process. So the first part is actually the white light coming, entering and cleaning all the body, and the darkness releasing through the mouth, all the worries and anxiety. The second part of the cleansing process is the cleansing of all these latifas, lataifs. And then the third part of the process is similar to the first. So again, we'll imagine at this point the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in a beautiful white color. But the difference here is when we imagine the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, like I said, the breathing will remain the same until a certain point when I will mention. So as you breathe in, you'll imagine that the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is entering the body again. And you are feeling, like a balloon is being filled up with air. You will imagine that we are being filled up with light and nur. Yeah? And as we breathe out, all the latifas are being cleansed. And at the same time, what we will imagine is like a balloon becomes light, our body will become lighter. So our body will actually slowly disappear. So starting from the feet area, as we take a couple of breaths, the feet area, the legs will disappear. Few more breaths coming in, this section will disappear. Few more. So totally what will happen through this third part is that our whole body will disappear, inshallah. So we'll feel so light. So the only thing that will be remaining then would be our spirit. Hopefully it'll still be there, because if it's not there, then you've gone to Almi Arwa. Sorry, not Almi Arwa, to the Barzakh. So, inshallah, the only things that will be remaining, our spirit, our breathing, because now the body has disappeared. So the spirit, our breathing, our breath, and the spiritual centers. So the next process is that each one of these spiritual centers will disappear. Beginning from which one? The red one. So one breath we'll take, the red spiritual center will disappear. The next breath, the orange. The next breath, next. Yes. So now all the spiritual centers have also disappeared. So what's only remaining? Breath and the spirit. Okay? So what will we do at this time? At this time, using, like I said again, at least use the capability of the thought and imagination. We will try to imagine a copy of ourselves, identical copy of ourselves, actually sitting in front of us, exactly as you are. So try to imagine because this is the spiritual vehicle that we will use to travel into the spiritual world. Okay? So at this point, the Ustad will mention, now try to imagine yourself, a copy of yourself sitting in front of you. Because the only thing remaining on this side is the breath and the spirit. So the body, what we're going to imagine, is where we're actually going to transfer our spirit so it can travel into the spiritual world. So the breathing will continue as it is, and then at a certain point, which is comfortable for each individual, we will say at this point, which is known as the transfer point and the golden breath. At this point, you'll actually do a long, deep breath, because what are you actually doing? At that point, you're going to transfer your spirit into that spiritual body. So at that time, you'll basically send your spirit into that spiritual body. Okay? So this is the most important thing here. Very important thing I want to mention here, because a lot of people, actually not many, but some people actually, at this point, they actually block themselves. Why? Because they start thinking, have I transferred? Have I not transferred? That's why we're saying to you, use your mind, use your imagination, and at this point, feel as though 100% you have transferred. So don't block yourself, because the rest of the journey actually is, you could say, will build upon this point. So if you block yourself at this point, oh, I've not transferred, you'll actually block your mind. So you might not even follow the Ustad, even though your spirit will be traveling without you knowing, but you've actually stopped yourself with your mind. So at that point, you have to feel and believe that you have transferred. It's very important. So don't block yourself at that point. And then once a person is actually transferred into that spiritual body, they can sometimes imagine as though they're looking back into the room or whatever. The most important point, again and again this will be emphasized, imagine the teacher, our honorable teacher, Sheikh Ahmed Tabbag, as Ustad Kes mentioned yesterday as well. We have, maybe some of us have teachers in different fields or even bear with certain, but for this particular journey, it's our teacher Sheikh Ahmed Tabbag who we have to focus on in the spiritual world, because they will be the ones who will be accompanying us on this spiritual journey. So it is their spiritual body that we are connecting with, not their physical body. So their spiritual body, they have many. So here a person, obviously the first or so sessions will be guided, so we will explain, the Ustad will say, this is what is happening now, so you'll use your mind and thought to imagine, and some will obviously be experiencing. You will find the teacher, connect with them. Some people will find them in different places. Maybe they will find them in this masjid, maybe they will find them in, wherever they may find them. But most importantly, to find them, to connect yourself with the teacher. It doesn't, like I say, it doesn't matter where you find them. So basically at that point, just let it flow. Think of the teacher. Think of the teacher and you're connected. And at that point, so some of you, maybe who haven't met the teacher, these are some pictures, mashallah, of our blessed teacher. And, you can just use these to help you to imagine. And we'll hopefully may get blessed with their physical presence as well, inshallah. And obviously spiritually, they will be with us and are with us. Alhamdulillah. So think of the teacher, and then inshallah, many people at that point, will meet them, greet them, say salam to them, and then ask them to actually take us on the spiritual journey. So from that point then, with the teacher, most importantly, now the spiritual journey that's going to commence from this point is in the company of the teacher. Because at any point when a person may leave the company of the teacher, even if it's in thought or mind, and sometimes, like I said, Allah na kare, but there is the dark side to these spiritual, obviously it's the spiritual world. If for any reason a person experiences anything from the dark side, always remember your alarm and protection is by connecting yourself with the teacher. So if anybody does experience anything, because at that time they've become heedless of the presence of the teacher, then as soon as they experience something like that, think about the teacher, connect themselves again, and alhamdulillah, you're protected and no worries, inshallah. So then what you'll do with the teacher, you'll imagine as though you're flying through the skies, because remember the spirit is very powerful. Yeah? The spirit has the power to travel into the future. The spirit has the power to travel into the past, and in milliseconds. It's just a thought. It's like now, a person sometimes can even think, just by thinking that in Medina Sharif, the spirit is there. This is how quick it can travel. And this is just Medina Sharif, but it can go beyond the skies and the heavens, alhamdulillah. This is the power of it. So firstly, we'll imagine we're, speed of light through the skies, as you can see in the picture, through the mountains. And where will we reach as our first destination? Maybe some of you have seen this blessed picture before. If you haven't, inshallah, I'll try to explain. This is the blessed Mazar Sharif of our Grandmaster Sayyidina Abdul Aziz al-Dabbagh Rahmatullah Alayhi in Morocco, in Fez. So this is the graveyard where the blessed Mazar Sharif is. This graveyard is such a blessed graveyard. It's a very big graveyard. And in this graveyard alone, there are over 300 recorded and documented awliya who are at the level of Ghaus and Qutb, the high-ranking awliya. And obviously Sayyidina Abdul Aziz Dabbagh, Rahmatullah Alayh, they were the Ummi Ghaus of their time. So they were the Ghaus. The highest ranking wali of a particular period is known as a Ghaus. So they were, of their time, the highest ranking wali of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So what we will imagine, that with our teachers, sometimes as a collective, we'll maybe be traveling together, or whichever way your experience goes. So we'll imagine we're at the blessed Mazar of our Master Sayyidina Abdul Aziz Dabbagh, and entering into the blessed chamber where you see the green door, inshallah, that is the entrance to the Mazar. And then, inshallah, entering with our teacher, and then as the Ustad will guide, a person will give their salam, meet their teachers. Everybody will have a different kafiyat, different feeling. Some will be remorseful, some will be happy, because don't forget, we're going in the presence of such personalities. Yeah? Some people will actually, with the fazl of Allah, connect themselves with the mashayikh, and they'll even have the ability to actually converse with them, seek guidance. It seems like, oh, do these things happen? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the doer. He is the one who bestows everything upon anybody. And just an example I gave you to know, because some people think people have passed away and that's it. Yeah? So, once we visited the Mazar of our Master Sayyidina Abdul Aziz Dabbagh Rahmatullah Alayh, and to the nearest meaning, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives awliya knowledge that we can't imagine. So they are more aware of what's happening in our world than most of us. So at that particular time, certain guidance was given in regards to the youth. So they're aware how our youth, what difficulties they are facing. So to the niece, meaning to my recollection, I can mention, and they gave us, because the question was asked, how can we actually help the youth and guide the youth? So we sometimes have our own way of doing things, but obviously the mashayikh have the wisdom. So the example they gave, I'm not sure about Nottingham, or places like Bolton and places like that, they have these like snooker and billiard clubs. So these kind of clubs, the shayateen and people, unfortunately, who are used by the shayateen, they target these kind of places to actually trap our youth. And how do they do this? So you get certain people who are drug dealers, for example. So they will go to these kind of venues and places, and they'll make friends with the youth. So they'll play snooker with them, yeah, and then they'll offer them certain drugs free, because they want to trap them, because the ultimate plan behind all this is shaitan. Because shaitan not only wants to destroy that person, he actually wants to destroy the family unity because of that person as well, through the person. You probably know people who are on drugs, they become a nightmare for their families as well, their friends. So what happens, this is what happens in some of these places. So to counter that, our Mashaykh mentioned that send our youth to them places. So don't point people like me and Uncle Iqbal Sahab and others going there, because we want to have that effect on the youth. So youth obviously get on with youth. They said, send the youth to these places, yeah? And tell them to play snooker with them. Because the first thing, just by their presence, is they won't actually be taking the drugs in front of them. Yeah? And secondly, they mentioned, don't even talk about deen. Don't talk about Islam. Yeah? Just socialize with them. See what they like to do. See what their hobbies are. Have a connect, become friends. Yeah? After the game, take them for a burger. Take them for some food. Yeah? Play football with them. So do the things that they like doing. Because the first thing what they do, they'll be out of the bad company and they'll be into the good company. Yeah? And then, again, don't mention anything about the deen. So just become their friends, socialize them. A point will come, and this is the wisdom of the Mashaykh, a point will come where they themselves will ask you about the deen. So this is, alhamdulillah, many things, as you will see, alhamdulillah, over the next few days, yourselves will also receive guidance as well, alhamdulillah. So then a person from this point will then imagine he is in the blessed Masjid Nabawi Sharif, Medina Sharif. Many of you maybe have attended, been to Umrah and Hajj. If not, most of you have seen the pictures. So imagine the blessed green dome, and you are with the teacher and with the group as well, outside the green dome. And there you are sitting with the teacher and you are thinking about the Prophet ﷺ. You're reciting Durood in the heart, connecting yourself. So this is, what a person can imagine after that. There is, alhamdulillah, wa the fazl of Allah, which will most likely happen, because these collective gatherings, there's so much barakah and tawajjuh from the mashayikh and fairs. Not only do they visit Sayyidina Abdul Aziz Dabagh, at that point, like I said, in Medina Sharif, a person can imagine like the light coming from the blessed green dome onto the person, and to whatever level a person connects himself with the Messenger of Allah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, how a person would feel physically when he goes in the Bargah of Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Some people, they're afraid to go forward. Why? Because of how they live their life. Each person has his own individual connection and journey. Some people are eager and happy. Yeah? So at that point, a person will be imagining and thinking about the Messenger of Allah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. So at that point, a person will then actually seek permission from the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam to further travel on this spiritual journey. So at that point, a person will then can imagine himself outside the Kaaba Sharif, sitting with the teacher and imagining that there's a bright light and doing the zikr there of Allah, bright light coming from the door of the Kaaba and entering the heart, and then like going back and forth to the door. And then after that, one can imagine that they're actually inside the Kaaba Sharif. Because what are we doing? We're inshallah following and mimicking the miraj of Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, how they went to the Kaaba, from the Kaaba to Masjid al-Aqsa, and then to the different realms and the different skies, as it was mentioned in the theory yesterday. But like I said, sometimes it happens by the fazl of Allah and the tawajjuh of the mashayikh, that in the collective session, sometimes we are taken to these blessed personalities along the way. For example, if you look at the top, Sayyidina Abdul Aziz Dabagh, rahmatullah alayh, then from there, sometimes we are blessed to visit Sayyidina Imam Abul Hasan Shazli, rahmatullah alayh, who was the grand teacher of the Shazali Tariqa, as you are aware of. And from there to Baghdad Sharif, to the Mazar Sharif of Sayyidina Abdul Qadir al-Jalani, rahmatullah alayh. Okay? So this actually sometimes happens as well, the fairs of the Mashayikh. And from there one sometimes is even taken to the Bargah of Sayyidina Hazrat Imam Hussain alayhi salam radiyallahu ta'ala an. Yeah? So a person will feel himself in the presence. And like I said, people sometimes receive nasiyah. And from there to the bargah of the line of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Sayyidina Hazrat Ali alayhi salam radiallahu ta'ala anhu. And then from there, like I mentioned earlier, to Medina Sharif. And then sometimes for barakah, because it was our beloved Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam did many a time visit the blessed resting place of their beloved mother, Sayyidina Amina, which is in a place called Abwa Sharif, just on the way to Makkah Sharif as you leave from Medina Sharif. And then the Kaaba Sharif, and then, as you see in the picture, Masjid al-Aqsa, and then up into the heavenly realm, inshallah. So there's no limit. You know, some people might go beyond certain, places in this first muraqabah, maybe. Like I said, relying on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, inshallah. This is the most important thing. So when we actually conclude that particular muraqabah, so what are the etiquettes? So the etiquettes at that point is, if you're in the presence of any certain personality, then give your salam and seek permission. You know, like we do when we physically visit a maqam or a mazar of any buzurg. And then what you will do, you will slowly open your eyes and bring yourself back into your body. Inshallah, hopefully you'll all come back. So main thing, what we're hoping to do, obviously, as you practice, is to master the order, as we went through everything, the actual exercise and the methodology and the transfer of the spirit. So all that, the more we do, it'll become like a norm. It's like driving. You know, you'd struggle maybe some lessons, but once you're a driver, you know, your concentration is on the phone, but your clutch and brakes and everything are automatically going. Then obviously our teacher, alhamdulillah, they will guide us further along this spiritual journey, because there's no limit to the closeness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So inshallah, normally we do a short practice run, but because we're actually going to go into a complete practice run, inshallah, so we won't actually do that, inshallah. So just for yourselves to know, because now we've got the knowledge and we want to reach the levels of seeing, Ain al-Yaqeen, it's very important to understand this, because so you don't confuse yourself, because there's different levels of these experiences. So first is, as you can see from the screen, getting familiar with the order, verbal clarity, completing the process with the imagination. That's why I'm emphasizing, use your imagination, use your thoughts. One point a person might feel a stage, so these are the levels a person, not seeing, but feeling that one is there. So sometimes you're not actually seeing something, but you can feel I'm at a particular place. You can feel I'm at Masjid Nabawi Sharif. Then, as you progress, imagination becomes clearer gradually. Imagination becomes colorful. Yeah? So sometimes it can be black and white, and then you're in the 1950s, and then it becomes colorful. And then it becomes like a picture created in your mind. And slowly, as it increases, like a vague dream, feels like a clear dream, and then it's like you're watching a film. But like I said, some of you might be experiencing these levels in the first muraqabah. But don't confuse yourself expecting to see the different levels straight away. If Allah wills, that will happen. But at least use your thought and your mind process. Then three-dimensional image, scenes and things begin happening beyond one's control. Yeah? So you may be imagining that you're at the Mazar Sharif of Sayyidina Abdul Dabag, but all of a sudden you end up in Kaaba Sharif. So don't restrict yourself, because your spirit has actually traveled. It's not in your control. So this is from Allah Azza wa Jal. Natural clarity, same as reality. Sometimes what will happen after the experience, a person feels that the spirit is still there, so a person can actually also experience this as well. And then even if the eyes are open, still a person is seeing the realities of the unseen. So this can also happen as well. The state is experienced even when not intended. So sometimes, and it'll happen more frequently. But like I said, this is by the fazl of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Our main thing is to focus on the initial process. And then a person can even transfer just with intention and continuously witnessing this world and the unseen world at the same time. So obviously the awliya Allah, they are always in these states, alhamdulillah. So now another important thing to get into our minds, what is the responsibility we have and what is the responsibility our blessed teacher have? So they really have 99.9% of the responsibility. Yeah? What does this include? Permission. So all those who have actually registered for this 2-day retreat, alhamdulillah, the permission has been granted to you. So this permission is been given. Secondly, the methodology which our teacher is using us to forward to us. They've actually taught us to pass or share this knowledge with people. Guidance from the teacher, spiritual help from the teacher, like I said, even if it's anything alarming, or even the other side, spiritual company. This is all the responsibility of the teacher, removing obstacles in the journey. Yeah? Most important, this is very important, this, because now all of you will go home and you will practice these things and you will experience. Nobody should be interpreting visions themselves. So you'll be in a WhatsApp group where you'll be given opportunity to mention your experiences. You'll be assigned mentors. So most importantly, you don't interpret these visions yourself. Because this is where people, the likes of the Mirza guy, he used to have visions, but they were from Shaitan. So he was interpreting, and obviously he got misguided. That is why it's important we are under the guidance of the teacher at all time, especially relating to visions and things. Taking the seeker soul to the stations, presenting him to the prophetic presence. This is the role of, what a great responsibility. They are like a bridge between us and the Prophet ﷺ. So through their guidance, through the tazkiyah program, purification, they will inshallah take us into the prophetic presence. And then obviously in the divine presence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So what is our point, not 0.1% or whatever it is, yeah? What is it? To learn and train in the methodology to transfer the spirit to the spiritual body and releasing from the physical body. This is all we have to, this is our responsibility. And as we actually, you're given the books and you practice, alhamdulillah, we will fulfill at least our responsibility, inshallah. So there will be obstacles in these journeys which will be covered and explained at a later date through this retreat. So some of them, very quickly I'll go through. Assuming that you're already qualified, where actually the proper mirage is actually done when we explain the purification stage, the different stages. This is actually done in the third stage. When we actually came to our blessed teacher, there was none of this. You guys are really blessed. That first day you're coming and you're tasting these things. We were just told to do zikr and sort our tongue out. Yeah, but obviously the enlightenment stage came a lot after. But this is fazl of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala whenever He wills to benefit people. These are obstacles that a person should understand, that if I have these things in me, then I need to remove them, because they will definitely affect. Even if I do see something by the fazl of Allah, faiz of the Mashayikh, if I don't work or do something to rectify these things, then they will become a blockage. Haram rizq, unlawful earnings, negative dealings with the creation, like I mentioned yesterday. If you've got something to amend with people, call them, ask forgiveness from them, and amend your relationship. Not submitting to the teacher, this will become an obstacle. So like we're making very clear again and again, our teacher on this spiritual journey is our teacher, Sheikh Ahmad Dabag Hafizullah. So submitting means fully accepting them as the teacher to take us on this spiritual journey, and fully accepting the teachings that they are conveying through us and the ustads, and to actually follow them. This is something when a person, obviously whether it's an ustad, if you're going to consult with them, then submit to their consultation. So don't have something in your mind and then go to consult as well. Oh, Sab, I want to do, can I take your mashwara on this thing? You've already made your mind up in your mind. So this is not, obviously not to have bad opinions or intentional bad thoughts of the important thing here I want to mention. People may actually experience this. Yeah. So sometimes, for example, somebody has a bad thought about the teacher. Sometimes a person can have bad thoughts about Rasulullah because this is shaitan. Sometimes a person can have bad thoughts about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, about people who you genuinely love and respect. And what happens with these people who experience it? They start becoming upset. Oh, why am I thinking this? Oh, I must be a bad guy. No, this is a principle of waswas. When you think thoughts like this, know it is from shaitan and totally disregard. Intentionally, obviously, thinking bad thoughts we shouldn't be thinking about. But if they do come, just ignore them. Not giving priority to instructions and things. This is not like another course. The continuous flow of affairs is coming from the teacher. So if we continuously focus on the prescription, because we're all patients, every one of us, we're all ill. We're all in this hospital, the spiritual, some are maybe not spiritually dead, but weak. Some are, spiritually stronger, but still ill. The teacher is the doctor. They will prescribe us, as we've got Dr. Saab, physical doctor. If you've got any headaches or anything, just let us know. We've got a doctor in the house, inshallah. What would you do? You would take the medicine. If you're hoping to get cured from that illness, you would take the medicine. You won't just take the medicine from the Dr. Saab, and go and put it in your bag. No, you'll actually take it if you're hoping. So we will hopefully take the medicine which is prescribed for our spiritual illnesses, inshallah. Other obstacles, transferring, expecting it to happen quickly, being impatient, easily frustrated. Like I said, don't become an obstacle yourself. Negative thinking, not being pleased with Allah's will under every circumstance, giving up easily. This is very important because sometimes, you hear from people, oh, I've been doing this for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, it's not happening. This is what shaitan wants. He wants you to stop. I was doing so well, I didn't sin for 2 weeks, it happened again. I can't do it. This is what he wants. No, we are human beings that will make mistakes. So what we have to do, tawbah, carry on. Yeah? So never give up. Rely on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And obviously, laziness, don't be lazy. Because the pious have mentioned that the only cure for laziness is the fire of hell. Because laziness is self-inflicted. So that, don't become lazy. Plan your days. This is why most of the time we don't actually fulfill certain things. If we've got some askars to do, any amals to do, most of the time, why do we miss them? Because we don't plan. We don't have a timetable. So I do my particular amals at a certain time. If not, have a backup time, plan. Because shaitan is already planning. Their plans are already in the pipeline. And when these guys go, our sisters, blessed sisters go, how can we derail these people? How can we stop them from doing benefiting from the gems and the precious gifts they are being given. So they will not only sometimes get you sinning to stop, they'll keep you busy in other good deeds, so you're deprived of this. So they have different ways. So plan yourself that I will give this specific time for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, do my particular deeds. If I miss it at this time, then I'll have a backup time. I'll do it 6 o'clock in the evening. And a third backup time, which is within the 24 hours, no matter what happens, I will take my medicine. I will take that, I will do the amals. You won't go without eating and drinking for 24 hours. So why should you go without eating and drinking spiritually for 24 hours, which is even more important than the physical food? So inshallah, plan. Obstacle, lack of purification, obviously this will be explained further. Preference to nawafil, optional over first. Hypocrisy, obviously these things are self-explanatory. Again, emphasizing the 3 levels, the thought level, imagination level. So you use your thought and mind. Yeah. So just for 1 second, everybody close your eyes. Yeah? You're still looking at me. Right? So now, just imagine an apple. Can you all imagine an apple? Yes? Open your eyes, easy as that. So use your mind, use your thought. Yeah? And then obviously let it go. Then you can imagine eating the apple or whatever, inshallah. Or you go even further, go to the apple tree, pick the apple off the apple tree, and then... Sorry? Actually, alhamdulillah. See that? Was it in heaven or... MashaAllah. So like I said, the spiritual level, this is not in our control. This is the fazl of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which we hope that all of us will experience. This will happen automatically. Like the example given is like when a father teaches a son to ride a bike. So initially he's holding the bike, he's falling, struggling, and then he's riding, and automatically what happens, he's riding the bike, but he's still thinking that his dad's holding the bike, but the father's let go. Now the bike is going. So this is, alhamdulillah, what will happen by the fazl of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So alhamdulillah, this is the summary, inshallah. Intention, the 3 keys, Salatul Hajat, amals of protection, and then the 3 states, the beginning amals, the process of the cleansing, the 3, the first, the white, and then the colors, and then the 3rd part of the cleansing process. And then to the transfer into the spiritual body, finding the teacher, and then let the journey begin. Yeah? Like I said, with the thought level, imagination level, use it to the max, and there goes the screen, inshallah. So alhamdulillah, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgive me for all the shortcomings in delivering. Any good, obviously, is always from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So I hope you did understand. So now, inshallah,
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Now, inshallah, for 15 minutes, we have been given rest break. So, inshallah, use this time to maybe stretch your legs or just relax. After